Is this love real? Don't know how to feel. I've been waiting on you, babe. I've been waiting on you, babe. Give me something. Don't know how to win. I've been waiting on you, babe. Yeah, on you, babe.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us. That is my son, Le Shrimp, or now Le Saint. Not sure what the fascination is with the Le. He is not French, but that's his music. More than anything, I'm a proud dad. My other son behind me, Mason, will be home tonight. Super cool, just because he's home for an overnight. But I am glad that you joined us this evening. Each night on No Dumb Questions, what we do is push the envelope, get you to think of things differently, get you to look at the same problems that you've seen before from a different light, and really to focus on solutions. There's so many people who you could be listening to. The internet is filled with voices, and most of those voices, quite frankly, appear to be aggressive, picking one side or the other. In this conversation tonight, we're going to focus on you. It's a conversation between you and me. And it starts with you recognizing that you've made it. 2022. 2021 was a beast for many of us. What we do, what I do in education, it was especially difficult because we had the great resignation where teachers all over the country decided they don't want to be teachers anymore. Bus drivers decided they don't want to be bus drivers anymore. Restaurant workers said they don't want to be restaurant workers. And every single industry lost people. And then, of course, there are the actual losses, the losses of lives. But you're here. You're here tonight. You're here to be part of a conversation in which you get the opportunity to reflect upon what it is that you've been through, keeping in mind what it is that you're going to do. One of the reasons why I feel excited about tonight is because I get to share with you stories that I have from the front lines. Working in urban schools in the Bronx and in Harlem and Bridgeport, Connecticut, it could be easy to get caught up in the negativity, really, the challenges that so many parents face, regardless of their socioeconomic background, but especially those families who are dealing with economic hardships. I could focus on the challenges of raising a child alone, for those of you who are doing that. But tonight is about celebration. You made it, 2022. You're here. You're part of the conversation. So if nothing else, you know that you got another day. And what that means to me is that it's time to reflect upon what it is that worked for you. I watch so many people talk about how it is you can live your best life. And usually that starts with them telling you their story. Their story might be the route that they took to get to where they are, but their story is not what's going to get you to yours. What's going to get you to your better life is that you reflect upon the things that did work. It is easy for you to reflect on the things that didn't work. That's what so many people deal with when they're thinking about 2021, what didn't work. When they're thinking about 2020, what didn't work. I want you to focus on what did. What did you do that produced results that you're pretty pleased with? I don't want you to look at this from a deficit perspective. I don't want you to look at it from what didn't work, what's going wrong in your life. We over-index in the negative. We often think about what it is in our lives that we're unhappy about as an attempt to motivate ourselves to do right. Very few people are motivated by negativity. Very few children can be inspired to do what it is you need them to do in class by telling them what they can't do. Very few adults are going to run to the darkness. They're going to run to the light. Be that light. Be the person who makes it possible, not just for you, but for those around you to see the positivity. At Capital Prep Schools, we have something that we refer to as aggressive positivity. What that means is just what it sounds like. It means that you have to make a commitment to find the best in even the worst circumstances. The most successful people I know are not the ones who make the most amount of money. God has a strange way of giving people money who may not necessarily be the best people. And if you measure the quality of one's life by how much money they make, it's easy to think that you don't have to live right to be wealthy and therefore have a great quality of life. And so when you hear people talking about living their best life, in many cases, what they're talking about is how you make a lot of money. I get the ads telling me how it is that you can be a six-figure speaker, whatever that means. I'm more interested in you being happy. This notion of happiness is not one that is fleeting. It's a conscious set of decisions that you have to make every single day to identify what it is in your life that's working and to not over-index the negative. When you over-index the negative, you easily begin to ruminate on the things that are not working. You spend so much time in the negative that you cannot possibly be happy. In fact, what will happen is you will miss your blessings. You will overlook the good things in your life, the simple pleasures, the people who make you happy. I don't want you to do that. We all find ourselves in a place where we think about the people who really piss us off. I have a list of those people. I get the opportunity to interface with those people all too often. But those are not the people who are going to make you happy. Those are not the people who are going to bring joy to your life and help you to uncover what is the best parts of your story. We have to think about what it is that inspires us. And what it is that inspires many of us is understanding the distance that we traveled, not always looking backwards. Everyone has some form of trauma in their lives. Everyone has some form of trauma in their lives. The question is not whether or not you have trauma. The question is, what do you do with the trauma? Do you allow yourself to suffer through it again? Or do you create the distance from that by finding the meaning in it, which is not always easy? Some people find it through prayer. Other people find it through conversations. But no matter what route you take, you got to find it. You have to find a way to find joy. I promise you right now, there's somebody praying for your problems. There's somebody who's looking at what you are dealing with and wishing that that was their life. Many people, if they woke up as you, would feel that they had come up. But it is easy for you to look at what you have in a deficit, to think about what you don't have and what you don't get. You can think about the man that you don't have as opposed to the people that you do. You think about the child that you don't have as opposed to the career or friends or nieces or nephews that you do have. You could think about the weight that you didn't lose as opposed to the weight that you did. Whatever it is that you think about in the negative will put you in a position where you will constantly focus on the negative, and the focus on the negative is the challenge. The challenge of making it is not just making it to the other day, but making it in a place where you can make the most of whatever it is. I am very, very fortunate because I get to do what I love. But one of the reasons I get to do what I love is because I am one of those people who took the risks that were necessary to do it. When we started our first school, I didn't have $100 to my name. You say, well, how is that possible? It's possible because, like so many people, didn't watch my spending, made decisions to buy things that we shouldn't, at least not at that time. And so when I went to take the test to become a principal to start our first school, I recognized that I didn't have the money. The story is not that we didn't have money. The story is learning from that experience, learning from the humiliation of that, and deciding never to go back there. It's not because a lot of money came. It's because we stopped spending a lot of money. See, when you frame the challenges of your life in such a way that you understand what it is that you're supposed to learn from it, then you create opportunities for yourself to be happy. Making it into 2022 has to mean being happy. Again, it's not this goofy laughing, because happiness isn't always reflected in a smile. Sometimes it's contentment. It's the notion that today is better than yesterday. And if I do it the right way, what I'll do is I'll make tomorrow even better. It doesn't take long when working with children who come from historically disadvantaged backgrounds to recognize how good things are. But you don't always have to reflect on the people who don't have in order to find out what you do have. It is dangerous to spend so much time looking for the negative, even in others, because you put out an energy, and that energy does make its way back to you. Instead of finding out what it is that makes them great in order to feel great yourself, you look at what it is inside them that you feel makes you puts you in a better situation. When I first met Bishop T.D. Jakes, he told me that he wasn't a jealous man. He said because he believes in God. He said that when he sees good things happening for others, that's evidence that God is working, which means that when it's his time and it's his blessing, he'll get it. I want you to reflect upon the goodness in others, because shine is infinite. The more of it you give, the more of it that there is. I want you to get to happy by finding out what it is that will make other people happy. What is it that you can do to make other people's lives better? How is it that you can engage people who you care about in such a way that they feel like their lives are better? How is it that you can be the light in their life? How is it that you can help them to identify what it is that is inside them that's good? Because the more good that you can help others identify within themselves, the easier it is to find it inside you. Once you find it within others, it is easier to detect in you. Focusing on the positive is essential, because when you do that, you are in a positive state of mind. When you focus on the positive, you set your mind at ease. Think about it for a moment. Think about what happens when you're lying there in bed and you get one of those ideas about something that you have to do tomorrow that you don't want to do. You begin to ruminate over why you don't want to do it and how bad it's going to be. And your anxiety begins to raise almost as if you are already experiencing it. In fact, your body begins to tense up as if you are already experiencing the negative. It is the same as actually going through it. The deeper you get into that negative notion, your body begins to produce all of the secretions that it would, whether it be sweat, that it needs to in order for you to prepare for battle. Your muscles begin to tense up. Your brain begins to lock in. You begin to focus on fight and flight. And sleep goes further and further and further away. Versus right before you go to sleep, setting your mind at ease, thinking about what it is that went well, reflecting on the good things that are in your life, the good people who are in your life. Shine is infinite, and good does recognize good. I want you in 2022 to focus on the good. Doesn't mean that there won't be bad. People are going to be born and people are going to die. You are going to find people who you thought you could trust, who you can no longer. Your children will disappoint you. Your parents will disappoint you. People you work with will disappoint you. You will encounter humans. And those humans will do things that make them human, but not humane. But what they do to make your life negative does not have to yield a negative result. You have to be aggressively positive, focusing on what it is that you can glean from them. Believe me, it's hard. If I ran down all the people today who pissed me off, I'd be pissed right now. There'd be no way I could be positive. There'd be no way you would want to listen to me. There'd be no way you would want to hear what I have to say because you think, my God, this dude is so negative. But that's what happens. When you do the same thing, when you focus on the negative, not only does your body tense up and prepare for battle, those around you begin to tense up. And you become the darkness as opposed to the light. When you can't focus on the positive in your life, help others find it in theirs. Really. Compliments are still free. Give somebody a compliment. Give them the opportunity to feel better. And I assure you, when you shoot that compliment out, it's coming back. When you help someone through something and find the good, you are creating a force around yourself for positivity. I want you to understand that you made it to 2022 not to reflect upon all the trauma in your life and how bad it is and how cold it is outside. And you don't know if you're going to get that loan. You don't know if you're going to get that house. You could focus on the negative both in the past and in the future. You can do that if you want to. But I want you to understand that that's a conscious decision that you make. You make that decision every single time you engage in that. You drive into work or you commuting to work and you think about that person who aggravates the hell out of you. Why are you giving that person that much real estate in your head? They don't care about you like that. Why are you letting them own that much property in your mind? You ain't in their head. You are giving them joy by allowing them to move into your skull. Don't give it to them. They don't deserve it. Find positive people, find positive experiences, do what you can to surround yourself with them. Be aggressively positive. Aggressively. People ask me how I'm doing. I say I'm having the time of my life. It always throws people. They think I'm joking, but I'm not joking. I really am having the time of my life. And people say, well, I guess I'm having the time of my life too. Think about that. I say I'm having the time of my life. They say they're having the time of their life. Your energy controls not just the way you feel, but in many cases, the way other people feel when they're around you. You and I will get to spend more time talking about things. We'll have guests on No Dumb Questions. Tonight, we just wanted to take a quick moment to talk to you tonight, to talk to you about how important it is to be positive. I'm going to be in your area. I can't travel for the rest of February, or at least most of it, because of a little incident that I had a couple of weeks back. But I believe they're going to let me travel real soon. So just keep that between you and me. I know I'll be traveling in March, though. I get to go visit my brother, Pastor Whalem, New Olivet, down in Memphis. Can't wait to go to Memphis. See, when I go down to Memphis, one of the things that I do is I have to fast for days before, because in Memphis, two things. One, everybody can cook. And two, no one at all has any idea of what portion control is. Y'all feel like if the plate is the size of your chest, then you have to fill it up the size of your chest. And so I see it, it tastes good, I eat it all. And then I feel guilty and these suits don't fit anymore. I will be down in Atlanta as well. I can talk more about that later. One reason, of course, is because my son's going to Morehouse. Our son's going to Morehouse, but that's not why I'm going to be down there. So I will be in Atlanta for that. I'm also going to be at South by Southwest on March 8th. And then, of course, there are dates coming throughout the rest of the year. But know this, when I come, I'm not coming to tell you my story. You have a story. Your story is very interesting. And the best part of your story are the best parts. The best parts are the ones that you've overcome. It's not that you went through trauma, it's that you came out. It's not that you're dealing with somebody who's on your nerves, it's that you're getting past them. Aggressively positive, folks. I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening. I believe that the smartest person in the room is not the one with the most answers or even the best answers, but it's the one who asks the best questions. I want to take the time to ask somebody some questions. Show them that you care about them. If you ever want to prove to somebody that you actually care about them, ask them a question and then let them answer. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Appreciate you. Next week, we have a really, really, really special guest, This woman is the reason why so many of us have held our children so much tighter. A very, very good friend of mine and a true inspiration. Her name is Sabrina Fulton. You may not know who Sabrina Fulton is, but Sabrina Fulton is Trayvon Martin's mother. So she'll be joining us next week. We're going to have a conversation that you will tell your friends about. So I'm telling you now, tell them now. Next week at 6 p.m. East Coast, my very good friend and sister, Sabrina Fulton, will be joining us. And we are going to have the kind of conversation that two parents have. So thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you. See you, Cousin Pam. Y'all take it easy.